On Sunday, November 20th, 2011, about 100 people assembled in the second floor dining room of the homeless shelter of the Community for Creative Nonviolence in Washington, D.C. Attending were Muslim and Jewish youth and some of the residents of the homeless shelter. The program was sponsored by the Jewish Islamic Dialogue Society of Washington, D.C. These video clips were taken at that event.
I want to acknowledge, first of all, that we do have people at our meetings who are not Muslim and not Jewish, and we want to encourage people who are interested in Islam and Judaism who come from other faiths. Obviously, Christianity comes to mind, the third faith of Abraham, but other faiths as well, to please come to JIDS meetings. But there is a special connection between Jews and Muslims. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is that when I say Adonai, I'm referring to Allah, and when he says Allah, he's referring to Adonai. And that, you can't really say that about all faiths. And the second is that there's this skirmish going on, you may have heard of it, in Palestine, Israel, however you want to frame it, and we all need to work together to make peace. Today, and some of you are watching about it, please try to start your own Islamic dialogue, society, and knowledge and beyond, so that we can work both to understand.
I do have some that I haven't I do. I just have to take it. Yeah, I don't have it on. I'll come back.
Go ahead. What community are you from?
I don't know exactly what to call it. We're an interfaith. We work at the Holy Redeemer.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I know there are a number of people in that organization. How about other organizations that are represented here? Raise your hand if you're from another organization. Go ahead. Yes.
I'm from People Affairs We're a homeless advocacy group, and also Sharp. We're also a homeless advocacy group.
With Andra to make this happen.
And we'll hear from you later. I'm looking forward to that. Other organizations represented.
Dan, over here. Arafa.
And, hi. You're on 2 South, which is the 2 South Women's Collective. This is the women's floor here, and we are a collaborative thanks to CC. My organization is Homeless in America, and we're out at the Freedom Plaza. We don't support Occupy Wall Street. We do support, however, Occupy Chocolate Cities USA. You understand, okay? We'll talk later.
Okay. Go ahead. Louder.
Loud, Alan.
I'm representing ICM, Islamic Center of Maryland.
Okay. Islamic Center of Maryland, and that is in Gaithersburg.
Right.
All right.
Go ahead.
We're from the University of Maryland. We're the Jewish Muslim Alliance.
Awesome.
We're representing Adat Shalom. I don't know if anyone else.
All right.
Adat Shalom, Reconstruction and Congregation. Reformed Congregation.
Reformed Congregation, Orthodox, in Damascus.
Orthodox, Damascus, Maryland.
We're the Gila Sadasha in Maryland.
Oh, wonderful.
Anybody, go ahead.
Shraha Nefesh in Maryland.
Shraha Nefesh, Chevy.
We have a group of youth, and Wesley's with Church of the Redeemer, but we have kids from a lot of different faith communities who are doing interfaith youth service together.
A few teens from Amkulel.
Okay, Amkulel, which is also Bethesda.
the CCNV, historic CCNV, we'll talk about that another day. You're on 2 South. This is the women's floor. We've made provisions for the men today to use the restroom at the front entrance, you know, where you came in the door. There are 2 canteens, there's a soda machine and something or other, and there's a bathroom right there, that's for the men. So involved in, the women are excited about this because we've been waiting for some interaction with the community for a long time. We do have assignments for you, we have homework assignments for you, so don't worry about it, you're going to love what it is we have for you to do. We're looking forward to hearing and seeing the interaction, and if you can do this, homeless people can come together as well and begin to communicate with the resources who are helping the homeless. You may be familiar with them already. I understand you have questions. Do not be afraid to ask hard questions. And we're not going to be afraid to ask hard questions either, okay? You got it? Everybody for it? Yeah? All right, so if there's anything you need to know about what to do while you're here, please stop to see any one of the ladies along the side here. We do have a few men from, anyone represented from 1 South? Okay, anybody from 1 South? Anybody from 3 South?
Yeah.
Okay, so we only have 3 men here today. Hey, okay, we're gonna go hunting, okay? But anyway, they can speak briefly. They'll have a moment to say something about what's going on, what they would like to see happen. And thank you for an open mind. A lot of change is needed, a lot of work. While we're smiling and while we're doing the formalities of, you know, how you doing stuff, realize there's a lot of pain and suffering in this place. And change has to take place on every level. The mental, spiritual, and physical level, okay? And I believe that's why you're here, and Eric Sheptop will, you know, will bring it around and bring it in.
Dan?
All right, I'm supposed to introduce each other first at the Clergy Beyond Borders.
Starbucks.
Was it Starbucks? That's right. And when I first saw Rabbi David, I said, oh my God, he looks like Mitch Katz. I had this good friend in college who was studying to be a rabbi. But it's probably good that he didn't become a rabbi, because he used to come to, you know, this was in the 70s, he used to come to me and say that, did you know that God permits smoking marijuana? And I said, no, come on, Mitch. And he said, yeah, and he opened the Bible and he showed me a verse from the 5 books of Moses. It says, see, it says, and ye shall have grass in your day.
Words, 2 words. Shalom Aleichem, which means peace unto you. And in Arabic, it's Salam Aleikum. Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem.
Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum. Salam, salam alaikum.
Thank the organizers, and I've learned over the years that there's a lot more that we share in common than we realize. This is a great opportunity to learn about each other, and we can only just learn about each other when we do for each other and do for others. That's when we really. When I say Torah, the word Torah means teaching, deep teachings. It's our most sacred literature, akin to the Quran, and it's the 5, also known as the 5 books of Moses. The same 5 books of Moses that is cherished by Jews and Christians the world over. And the 5 books of Moses are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Thank you, Mr. Shark. Okay, very good. So these books contain incredible teachings about our responsibility to be concerned and to care and to do for others in society. I'd just like to read for you a couple of for the needy and for the stranger. A recognition, a share what you have from your crops, from your earnings, with those who are in need. From Deuteronomy, if there's a poor person among you, one of your brothers and sisters, in any of the towns of the land which the eternal God is giving you. You shall not harden your heart, nor close your hand to the poor brother, sister, for you shall freely open your hand to him or her, and generously lend him her sufficient for their needs and whatever they lack. So right there, also from Deuteronomy. And then it says, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tiradov, justice, justice you shall pursue. Is not the fast which I choose? To loosen the bonds of wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. That's what I want. Is it not to divide your bread with the hungry, and bring the homeless poor into your home? When you see the naked, to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh. Can I borrow a guitar? Hannah, can I borrow? Is it all right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful guitar.
Or zarua latzadim uyishrei simcha. Or zarua latzadim uyishrei simcha. Uyishrei simcha. Or zarua latzadim uyishrei simcha. Uyishrei simcha.
Become a dirty word in this country, much like Jew has been a dirty word in many countries in our history. And we must all fight that word. It's a blessed word. After completing memorization of the Quran at the age of 11, mosques and Islamic schools, and in terms of his educational background, he holds a master's level diploma in Arabic language and Islamic studies from the Al-Azhar University in Cairo, and a diploma in Sharia from the National Somali University in Somalia. Okay, so that makes him a big maha.
I'm sure you are going to have some problem to follow me because of my huge accent. So be with me. I would like to start my talk today talking about charity in Islam. Beautiful supplication that Moses made after God sent him to free the Jewish people from the oppression of the Egyptian, not all Egyptian, but the Pharaoh, we call in Arabic Pharaoh. Moses, he was not only messenger, he was freedom fighter also. Because the Jewish people, according to the Quran, and what I'm saying is in the Holy Quran, it's not something that I copy from some other books, that's in the Holy Quran. And I really like the supplication that Moses, peace be upon him, made when God sent him and he met Pharaoh. Before he met Pharaoh, he said this beautiful dua, and if you want to review this dua, it's chapter 20th in the Holy Quran. The first, I think 18 verses, chapter 20th in the Quran, first 18 verses. God talk about Moses when God told him that you are in a holy valley when he was coming back from Midian, where is in Jordan now. He was coming back to Egypt, and God spoke to him in the holy valley and take him to take off his shoes, that you are in the holy valley. And God spoke with Moses in that, and God informed him that I will send you to free the people of Israel, the children of Israel, from the oppression of Pharaoh. So he made, the way God described in the Holy Quran, Pharaoh was the worst because he claimed he is a Lord. He told his people, he gathered them and he said, "Ana Rabbukum al-A'la." I am the supreme Lord. You are Lord. And in terms of the children of Israel, the Jewish people, he used to kill all the males and leave the females and use them as a slave to serve him. So because of this matter, Moses say, oh Allah, open my heart. Oh God, open my heart. And make easy my marriage, the journey that and the job that I'm doing, make easy for me. وَيَسِرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي. Oh Allah, take off my tongue to be, sharp, to express myself and explain the message that I'm carrying to other people. وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي, so that they may understand what I'm saying.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Or do I need the mic?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, y'all in front might need some earplugs, actually. Okay, yes. My name is Eric Sheptuck. I'm a homeless advocate here in Washington, D.C. I've been in D.C. for about 6 years. I got here in August of 2005. And I began advocating for the homeless in June of 2006. And I should start by saying that I was told you were going to be shown a film before I spoke. So I thought I'd be responding to the film, but if it hasn't changed, the film is going to be about family homelessness. So I hope I didn't ruin your surprise. But even so, does anybody here have any idea what the 5 leading causes of homelessness are in this country? Why are people homeless?
Healthcare.
Huh?
Healthcare?
Hey, you're good. That's number 4.
Minimum wage.
Yeah, that's in there too. That's number 2.
Eric, repeat it so everybody can hear.
Okay, so for those who didn't hear me, I asked you what are the 5 leading causes of homelessness in this country? Hey, good. Number 3.
What was it?
She said abused women. So you had abused women, which is number 3. Yeah, you had healthcare, which is number 4. You had minimum wage, which is number 2.
Housing.
Huh?
Housing.
Housing? Oh, the cost of housing?
Yeah.
That's actually number 1. And we're going to get number 5. You'll never get number 5.
Racism.
Mental illness.
Huh?
Mental illness.
Hey! You are an awesome group. I have never had any group, I do a lot of talking, I have never had any group guess the top 5 that easily. They all say so many other things, but you people are really good. And nobody said anything about drugs or alcohol. Yes, and so...
what was number 5?
Mental illness was number 5. And so, once again, in order, the 5 leading causes of homelessness in the United States are number 1, lack of affordable housing, number 2, lack of a living wage, number 3 is domestic violence. But for women and children, it's actually the leading cause. When you factor in the men, then it's number 3. Number 4 is medical bankruptcy. You have a chronic illness, you can't pay the doctor, and then you can't pay the rent. And number 5 is mental illness. What I often tell people is how that, drug addiction and alcoholism are actually not even in the top 5 reasons for homelessness. A lot of folks think that the homeless are homeless by their own doing, and that somehow makes it where we're not obligated to help them because they created their own problem. But while I'm on that note, let me say this. Myself and some other homeless advocates that I work with are presently dealing with a case where a homeless Vietnam veteran who was confined to a wheelchair and dying from cancer froze, in all places, right outside of a homeless shelter. It happened about 2 weeks ago. It was on October 29th. And that was the day that we had the real cold rain all day, and then it snowed that evening, and it froze. Okay, and from what I was able to gather, I guess it kind of boils down to where you piece together the facts, and then you kind of figure out what you think happened based on the facts that you gathered. And so that said, my understanding is that he brought some alcohol with him, tried to go into the shelter. They denied him shelter. And he didn't want to give up the alcohol, and he stayed outside and simply detained. They just assumed that the person made their own problems. But even so, even if it were true, still, we should do things to help them. And I think that's why we're all here, is because we all are here to talk about the moral obligation that we have to help somebody. And I like what the Imam said about how that you should greet everybody you meet, because myself and other homeless advocates are always telling people, you know, you don't always have to give the homeless money. You don't always have to buy them food. I mean, you can, and but even if you don't have anything to offer, even if you don't have any time to stop, it takes you no time whatsoever as you're walking past them to give them a nod, tell them hello, hey, how you doing? You know, it would be nice if you could stop and talk to them. And that's all good and nice, but if you can't, just acknowledge them. You know, there are several different websites about homelessness that make reference to this idea of invisible people. I have a friend from LA named Mark Horvath who actually has a website called Invisible People. And there have been other homeless advocates who have kind of played into this whole idea that the homeless often feel invisible because everybody just walks past them, doesn't say anything. I mean, you try to ignore them because they might beg you for some change. You know, it's okay to say I don't have anything, but hello anyway. And so I do like what the Quran and the Torah say about just acknowledging people, make them feel like human beings. And so I should say that I can actually talk for quite some time. You know, I've done 45-minute keynote speeches, but I promised I wouldn't do that today. And because married folks sometimes have 2 or 3 jobs between them. You know, and so those are some of the assumptions that people make. And here in DC, we have shelters that are just for single men, some that are just for single women, and then we have a family shelter out at DC General Hospital. The hospital actually was closed about 10 years ago. And we have families that are staying in a shelter on the now defunct DC General campus. And I have a lady friend who I'll tell you about right before I close out, because I know it's kind of getting close. But here's the deal. I have a lady friend named Denise. Now, when Denise was 6 years old in 1990, her mother became homeless. Denise got taken away from her mother, and she got put in foster care. She spent 15 years in foster care. At the age 21, in 2005, she aged out of foster care, and she became homeless. Howbeit, at the time, she had a 1-year-old daughter. You want to guess what happened to her daughter? Exactly. And so
every day, if it's not freezing. You understand what I'm saying? You have women who are disabled, all kind of conditions. We've been asking all kind of organizations to stand up to stop that. It hasn't happened. Nobody has stood up. You have women right here, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, off the floor days. They're putting women out. They call this helping the homeless. We are not the homeless. We are people too. And as we have been told many times by many people in this situation, stop calling us homeless. We are women. We are men. This CC is right back here. She is the queen of 2 South Women's Collective. She's the one who named it. She's also an activist. The women do not get their props. I've been out here since 1989, long before 2005. I do 30 homeless magazines. Nobody but the few women around here promotes the work of us. You have Rose, who is an exercise, you know? Every morning she would get up, doing her little workout thing. The staff around here interfered, and now I asked her today, have you gotten back to your routine? Once they break the cycle, it's hard to get back. You got Barbara, you got Linda, you got Hope, who I can see. I see Caroline, I see B, I see Dana, who else am I? My sister C right here, and whoever's here, all the women on this floor. Every last one of them have gifts and talents. And nobody's promoting us. And we promote ourselves. Something is wrong with that. God gave me a vision that we need to get homeless people to Oprah Winfrey so we can promote ourselves our way, speak for us. Each person has to be brought together, including, we're not leaving out the men. But what I found out is that the men leave out the women. They stand up, they say what they have to say, and we love them. But you can't have a baby for me. You don't have my stretch marks. You don't have my labor pain. I'm talking about physically, and I'm talking about spiritually. You have a predominant Christian population in this shelter. And the #1 reason for homelessness in this country is racism. Not those 5. Racism. We are, and throughout this nation, the predominant homeless population is African American. In this shelter, and in most shelters, we don't want to talk the R word, racism. But we've got to deal with it. If we don't deal with it, we're not going to get to the truth. We're not going to get to the root of this. Charity. The Bible says about charity and about a number of other things. I'm an undercover minister. God called me because he knew that people would be afraid to speak out because they'll lose their beds. Women are not speaking out. There's a woman right here who doesn't even speak English. We've been trying to get a translator for her. She's from Sri Lanka. Anybody here speak the language? We contacted the embassy. We contacted a few people. They want to try to deport her. No, she wants to stay, and she has the right to be here. Who's going to stand up sharp and fight for her? Who's going to stand up and tell every story around here? We have an 89-year-old woman here, and she's got bed bugs, what do you call it, sores from scratching the bed bugs. There was supposed to be a hearing on Friday about the bed bugs and the food around here. There are real situations right here where you sit. And if you start itching, don't wonder what it is. I can tell you what it is. The bed bugs. We need for people to come in here and trade places with the homeless and see what's going on, both in the men's shelter and the women. We want the director, David Burns, who has oversight of all of the homeless issues. We want him to go spend time with his black brothers. This is real. All day long he sits at the round table talking that stuff. We want him to feel the bite. We want him to taste the food. And I bet you the problem will get solved much quicker. Please, let us continue the dialogue about the reality. Every last one of these brothers have a right to tell their story. They have a right to tell you what they want. They have a right to tell you what they need. God, listen to the woman. Let her speak for herself. For goodness sake, get those women out of the, we want to take them out of the, what's it called over there? And bring them up here, fill them. Fill the beds up here with the hypothermia. Let's turn that into a 24-hour all-you-can-eat Black Family Unity restaurant. If we are the majority, then there are a lot of black families that are missing members, missing in action. We've got to bring those families back together. And this project with Oprah and that can make it happen. And so much more needs to be said, but I'm going to...
Can you get on the microphone and say, we are ready to pray, anybody wants to join, please come.
Everybody's Salah's ready, so anyone who wants to pray, we're going to pray.
Assalamualaikum. It's about time to pray. Those who like to join with us, please come and join with us for after prayer. Assalamualaikum. Jazakallah khair.
Everybody know, has this been announced? Yeah. It has been?
Allahu Akbar.
We don't want her to feel like she doesn't speak as much English as best friend. Anybody gets involved, she's from Sri Lanka. And we want to make her feel at home and understand that there's the wall.
And that's one of the things that
He's invited for Hamza.
Hey,
really
like I
close.
Voting from a church. It's hard because my grandmother's also out of work and we usually get some food from her.
It's kind of embarrassing because the next day you go to school asking kids if they want this or if they want that. If they have cereal and they haven't opened it yet, you go ask them if they want their cereal.
We found a lot of families are making a choice between food and electricity.
How many of you have had the lights turned off at your house? How do you study when you don't have the lights on at home?
We have emergency flashlights and I usually have to use them. I just light candles and sit around in a circle of candles.
Candles. Yes, ma'am?
I use candles because my mommy brings some.
I'll go up to the car and turn on the overhead and read out there and study.
Ashley Ray raised her hand to add something that we didn't expect.
I kind of feel like it's my fault that we don't have enough money. I feel like it's my fault that they have to pay for me and the clothes that they buy for me.
They're believing it's their fault that they're in the situation.
Beth Davalos runs the Seminole County programs for homeless kids.
Our numbers go up every day, between 5 and 15 new homeless students a day.
Every day?
Every day.
And she told us something else is new.
When I first started this program, 8 years ago, homelessness lasted maybe 2-3 months, but now with it lasting 3, 6 months, a year, or 2.
Number 12. We have.
They actually wait first.
So is it?
Remember Wesley?
Okay. So we've seen Muslim prayers and heard about what they're about, right? But we wanted to also show that there are other approaches to prayer, other forms of spirituality. And so we wanted to show you this year, unlike last year when we had this youth event, some Jewish prayers done through song. And I am blessed to be able to introduce my daughter Hannah, who is a singer-songwriter who's actually done 3 CDs already, one of which was exclusive. And this first song is one she just
Need only reflects a greater need of all the world. It's all in her. She isn't perfect. She isn't perfect. It is up to us to fix it. Zimi shalom tova ubracha ba'olam chen b'chesed chen b'chesed berachamim aleinu aleinu ve'ato Yisrael Ama be'aretz mach be'aretz mach shechina.
Next one is a medley of 2 songs. What?
Fairly traditional.
All right. Traditional prayers. Yehuda L'Ratzon and Osei Shalom. The first one is a prayer asking God to listen to our prayers.
And please sing along if you know these, and hum along if you don't know them. All right. You write song, Imrefi, the yon libi, levanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, V'goali, you write song, Imrefi, the yon libi, levanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, V'goali.
Grateful that God has blessed us to get together, and I'm also grateful to see all the young people. I lived in this shelter for 6 months. I have been gone away from here for 6 months. I wanted to, it's important to know that 90% of the people that are homeless, sometimes it is a self-inflicted situation. But 20% of the people may be homeless due to some circumstances beyond their control. For instance, a Katrina or an earthquake. So none of us are exempt. If a Katrina came through here today, you could probably be in a situation. I did live in this environment. I know its challenges. I know its obstacles. And my take on the government is that sometimes we ask too much because it is a inside thing. I cannot go to the government and say, I want you to do this. If a place gives me, the shelter provides the necessities, basic, clothing, food, and shelter. It does not provide for a mental, emotional, or spiritual foundation. You got to get that on your own. So, the shelter, a young lady said between 18 and 25 comes here, and she doesn't have a GED. And the shelter don't care. She's been here years, she still ain't got no GED. So how can I go to the government and say, hey, I want you to help me, and I haven't helped myself? So I just want us to pray for an inside job, and then we can work on the outside.
Shalom, 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 oh, salam aleikum, oh, salam aleikum, oh, salam aleikum, oh, salam, salam, salam aleikum.
I have a burning desire. It's 1 minute exactly.
Your 1 minute or 1 hour.